So this is part 1 of the portrait painting for Year 7 project, all about me. So in this video we're going to start off by painting the face. So I'm going to show you the step-by-step how to create a skin tone that has some depth. So we're going to start off, all I'm doing here is I'm just wetting these watercolour paints so they're easier to pick up and mix. So just a little bit of water. And here's my mixing palette. So I'm going to start off by creating an orange by mixing red and yellow onto the palette. So this is my starting point for a white skin tone. So there's my orange. And then I'm picking up, just mixing a little bit of white. Now the darker your skin colour, the less white you're going to use, and maybe more of the black or the blue to create more of a brown tone. So this is just, the skin in this image is quite sallow. So I'm going for quite a yellowy skin tone, a yellow undertone. So I'm picking up a little bit of blue, but I'm not mixing it in straight away. I'm just taking the tiniest amount. I'm tapping the rest off my brush and mixing it in. So the colour I'm going to first of all mix is going to be my shadows. So I'm going to make I'm trying to make a sort of a brownish skin tone that matches the colour of the shadow round the eyes, down the side, the left-hand side of the face. So I'm just adding a little bit more of my primary colours and then a little bit of black, just playing around really with these colours. These are all the colours you need until I get something I'm happy with. So I've got my colour, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just looking to see where the really dark tones are, and all I'm doing is taking that colour on the brush where it's really dark. First of all, I'm really carefully placing the brown just to match exactly where I see it in the picture. So down the side of the nose. And then I want to wipe off some of that excess and water down my brush, get a cleanish wet brush. And then all I'm going to do is use the water to soften out that shadow. So I'm making that shadow a little bit softer. And I'm taking what's left on my brush and just sort of mapping out where the shadows are. So again, softening the line down the mouth, looking at where the shadows are, all the time referring to my picture, to my photograph. So I'm just blocking in now the darkest tones that I can see in the picture, and I'm going to continue to do this as I go along. So you can see half of the face here. So just spreading that out. And remember that if you feel like you've gone a bit heavy, you can just take a little bit of water whilst it's still wet and spread out the colour with your brush. You can see I'm softening out some of my areas with water. Just softening out around there. If you look at the photo, you'll see that it's lighter on the cheek and under the eye, so I've left that white. Okay, under the nose is darker, so again, I've taken my watered down brown and popping it on, and I'm trying to do the same, sort of sketching in where the shadow on the nose is. But really trying not to paint any of the light areas with this brown, just trying to keep those quite light. So I'm putting another layer on now just to darken up the side of the face. We're not going to do the hair until the next video and the clothes and everything else. This is just purely the skin colour today. So just darken up where I can see shadows on the face. So always referring to your photograph. Don't make anything up. So just blocking in the shadows and then softening out any other shadows if they're too dark, with a bit of water. Going really dark there under the nose, where the nostrils are, and putting a little bit of dark on the chin. If you look at the photo, the chin is quite dark. Okay, so you can see I've done a little bit more there. I'm just going to block in the neck. So all I've done, it's almost like if you imagine shading with a pencil, but we're using a paintbrush. Okay, so we're nearly there. Just now taking a little bit more of the dark paint and putting the really dark shadows in. So it's just basically a shaded painting, a shaded first layer, just where the darker bits are. Okay, so next layer is just to put a basic skin colour. So I'm mixing again, I'm putting my orange down, I'm mixing some white into it, and then you'll see that all I do is take a tiny bit of blue, dab it onto the palette to get too much of it off, and then what I'm going to do is, this is a dry layer now, I've allowed that first layer to dry, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint that skin colour on top of my shadow colour. So this is just giving me quite a basic white skin tone. And as I said, if you've got a darker skin colour, then you will mix less of the white, and into your orange you're going to mix more either black or blue. But you really have to play around to see what works best for your skin tone. Okay, so that's dried. So now what I'm going to do is I'm looking for other colours on the skin. So I'm just going to put a little bit of darker shadow, because I can see that I need to go a bit darker, but you'll notice I'm now going to use a very fine paintbrush. So again, just as this paint dries, it sometimes goes a little bit lighter. So where I can see really deep shadows now, I'm just using my little thin brush and putting those really dark areas in. Just popping it near the nostrils, the creases in the eyes. Not making anything up. Yeah, the holes inside the ears. And just darkening up where it is dark in the photograph. Darken up the side of the face. And then you can see that the neck is much darker than the face. So again, I'm just putting an extra layer of the brown to make that a little bit darker. Okay. So now, looking at my photo, I can see some blue tones and some blue shadows. So I'm just taking some watered down blue, and where I can see a sort of a bluey cast to the skin where the shadows are, I'm just popping that wherever I can see it. So on the eyelids. Not too heavy though, because we want the skin to still look like its skin colour. Okay, the chin is quite blue as well. Just going to pick that up and put a little bit more on there. And then mixing the blue and the brown together, just to try to get that shadow to look a bit more accurate. So we're just working in nice thin layers. I can still see the paper through. It's just really about working in nice layers. So we're going to start putting some warmth into the skin. So just taking a little bit of the white and some red to make like a pinky blush on the face. A little bit of pink on the nose as well. And then I want to make some lip colour, so I'm taking that skin colour that's on the white, mixing with it with some red. So I paint a first layer just to see how that looks, but it doesn't look dark enough. So I then take a little bit more red and just go in on the lips where it's looking a bit more red. There's a little bit of pink on the ears as well, so putting some of that there. So when you look at your photograph, you'll see that your skin is not just one colour. So it's all about learning how to mix the colours to match the skin. Next, I'm going to put my black bits in, so things like the eyelashes, the nostrils, where I can see black, I'm popping those in. And then inside the mouth, a tiny bit for the nostrils there. Inside the mouth there is some shadow at the sides of the mouth, so obviously the mouth's a hole when it's open, so I'm just going to pop in those bits that I can see. There's a little shadow on the top of the lip as well, and then just taking a little bit of water and darkening up the teeth so it looks a little bit more accurate. Okay, so that's it, we're done. So join me for part 2, which will be painting the blazer and the hair and all of the other details. So I'll see you then.